for friends and family. The website, customroasting.net.
Here's what I'd say about voting. And it can be said about many entities in American life. As standards get lower, more problems are inevitable.
As standards get lower, more problems are here.
Well, just go to the failed academy. You've got, what now? We're approaching the third or if not more, kids can't even read at their grade level.
Yep.
Well, because one of the great reasons is standards have lowered and less has been expected of those kids. Black kids have been particularly harmed by that, the lowering of standards. Now just take it to voting. As you lower the standards, your expectations for truth, loyalty, and honesty will begin to fail. For example, to me, it's lowering the standards to provide a month or 2 months worth of early voting. It's lowering the standards to provide mail-in voting. It's lowering the standards to say, oh, you didn't get around to vote, you can vote at Walgreens Friday. It's just the standards are lowering. And what the hell is this? God damn it.
43 right now?
I am getting a phone
Joe.
call.
Yes.
I'm not done. I'm done. I'm rolling.
He's
All
rolling.
right. You're on a roll.
Didn't mean to pray there.
Standard.
The standards are lowering. As the standards lower, more people unaccustomed to living by standards are brought into the net. And as more and more people who have grown up not really adhering to many standards at all, it stands to reason that voting can get screwed up.
So you're talking about life in general.
Life in general. As standards decline, the expectation for proficiency must also decline. And I think we're seeing that.
May I?
Yes.
They're going to come back and debate you with the statement, we're not lowering the standards, we're helping. This
right.
is help.
And I
helping.
say the help is misguided and disguised. I say you're lowering the standards disguised as signaling your own virtue. You are lowering standards in the name of pretending that you're making this more accommodating for people.
Less than.
You're making people less than. You don't expect them to show up and vote. So therefore, we're going to take your uninterested self and we're going to make it possible for you to vote.
Can you guys provide me with some wild speculation? Because I think we did this off the air. Do you suppose that they're having top secret meetings in parking lots in the back seat of a work van with no windows, discussing how these lower standards disguised as help is going to get them elected?
No, I do not believe that.
Chris?
I'll take the bullet. Yes. I do believe that's happening.
I think it's unnecessary. The lowering of standards is so commonplace in all walks of life that it's taking care of itself. The damage is taking care of itself. But you don't have to meet in a parking ramp with Deep Throat and do this. It just happens.
But when you see, you asked, why is Walz running for a third term? He has no track record to stand upon. He doesn't have any achievements in his tenure as governor of the state of Minnesota. Therefore, he has no other choice.
So, Chris, are you saying that if he does get reelected,
what's Walz got to do with this?
We're talking about voting.
Well,
the standard.
Wait a second, Joe.
No, you're mixing two problems. Yes.
Let me put him on the spot.
Go ahead.
So, Chris, you're saying that if Walz, in fact, does get elected, it'll be due to these lower standards and not legitimate voter turnout?
100%. We've been talking about
Really?
this for years on this show. The fact that so many people keep just checking a box with the D next to it is because they truly don't have any idea what's going on. The standard has been lowered, as Joe was saying.
That, though, in and of itself, does not necessarily constitute fraud.
Okay.
If I'm uninformed and I go to the poll because the last thing I saw was a Walls yard sign and I vote for Walls, no fraud has taken place.
Right.
Chris,
but if there's one party on either side of the aisle that's benefiting from voter fraud, who do you attach that to? Which side of the political aisle?
I would attach lowering of standards right now. I mean, boy, it's hard to pick who's lowering standards faster. It's a tough situation in this country right now for lowering standards. But don't get me off track. Lowering standards has nothing to do with Walz running again. I'd like to answer that question. He's running again because he's been outed as a worthless national candidate. He has nothing else to do. Yeah. That's why he's running again.
I also, to enter, if I may, this conversation, Chris, I disagree with you because I know people who know much more about what's going on in the world than us five who will vote for Walz. And I'm not saying, I
Chris,
agree with them. I'm just saying we sound horribly arrogant if we're saying we know everything about every issue.
No, but if you know people are voting for Walz, I don't trust them to be very sound people.
Chris.
Well, I could... my response is there.
Well, no,
right?
John,
Since you were
really,
just talking nationally.
what possibly can they offer in his defense?
I agree. I wouldn't vote for Walz. It has nothing to do with me or you or
no. You know who you know, John? A bunch of morons.
Yeah, John.
Hold on, fellas.
Let's talk nationally for a minute.
Yeah, fellas, Chris.
I tried to sneak that in, John.
It seems to me, Chris, that you're looking for an excuse for Republicans not winning when the answer is pretty evident. It's the voting base in Minneapolis and St. Paul controls the election.
Sure.
And
I don't disagree
Republicans
with any
just
of that.
don't offer
A good candidate.
Yeah,
you
and
can't.
I think
you're
looking for an excuse.
No, I'm not looking for. Sorry,
and
Joe.
they hustle and work at it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We've all said that we have to produce better candidates. You can't run Dr. Crackpot against Walz again and expect to win. That's not going to happen. What you have to do is produce a better candidate. But what I'm saying is, look at just the city council races here. We've elected in Minneapolis alone. These are people that are unqualified for office, yet they know how to work the system.
Right. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, Joe,
you're
covering
right. Ground we've been covering for 5 years.
Joe, what you said is right. They've spent their entire lives not working in the private sector.
This is what they do.
Yeah, this is what they do.
And they show up on that July Saturday afternoon when you would rather be at a town ball game. And that's how it works.
And you're asking a question. You're asking a question as to, do I think that this is an orchestrated outfit? Yes, I do.
Well, I'll
But
give
they
you.
don't have to hide.
I'll give you that insofar as they're the ones doing the work, but there's not any secret recipe they share at a parking ramp to purposely come up with their results. They don't have to.
You mean like orchestrated protests and all this? This is all a game,
that's
you guys.
a little different, but
it's all the same, you guys.
Yeah.
This isn't, in all honesty,
You got to be quiet now.
this isn't that complicated, in my opinion.
I think you're actually agreeing with Joe, Chris.
I would like to compliment Joe on the Trading Places reference. Meeting in a parking ramp in a dark lit area.
That I don't need this.
That came from
I don't
me.
need this. Getting to the fragmented conversation is not helping us. So everybody, take a breath.
Let's get back to voting.
And I was going to say something about trust. And I want to play off a quote that a friend of mine sent me because it enlightens us about our Somali brothers and sisters. And the friend of mine watched a documentary on the ruination of Sweden. Sweden is losing its Swedenness because of just so much mass immigration. And let me read you the quote. You cannot bring in masses from low trust societies to your high trust society and expect your society to survive. The low trust people will take everything they can because they come from places of scarcity, and that mindset persists. Not all Somalis are making the news, but all Somalis who make the news are thieves. And no one has had the gumption yet to do a documentary on the corruption that Somalis have brought about in this state. No newspaper has done it. No television station has done it. But it's quite clear that our neighbors who have arrived here from low-trust countries are not assimilating to the idea that they're now in a high-trust country. Somalis in Somalia wake up every morning and their only objective is to live and to get through the day and scrounge for their next dollar or meal. They come to this country, and in too many of them, that mindset has persisted. So rather than accept the fact that they're in a country with guardrails, they're in a country where there is a great degree of trust, although that's eroding, a great degree of trust in the way the public functions. They're persisting in getting what they can for themselves. And if that means stealing it, it means stealing it. And we do not have a political operation in place in the state of Minnesota to confront that. Rather than confront that, you see this answer has come up a few times. Rather than confront that, what we've done is pass ourselves off as, well, maybe we've just been a little too kind and a little too naive. No, well, yes, you have, but the time for being naive is long past, to the point where it's too late. Joe Thompson said he doesn't think there's a state agency that isn't fraudulent. And he's the federal attorney. And that's because, yes, to a certain degree, because of this absolute falsehood called Minnesota Nice, and this naivete, we sailed along for years and years and years as being comfortable with being flyover land, and we have our beautiful lakes, and we have our parks, and we're just a bunch of happy rubes. And we have our Somali friends and neighbors. Yes, we do. But they have a different mindset about life than that pleasant, charming, flyover attitude that we used to have. They're here to take, and they will take what they can get, and if they're not stopped, it will just continue and continue and continue. Not all Somalis, mind you, are involved. But all Somalis involved are thieves. I don't know, that has nothing to do with voting, but I like that quote so much. We have so many people coming here from countries where those poor people never experienced trust in anything. In anything. They come here, we have experienced a life of trust. Well, we have rules, and we have building codes, and we have police to enforce the laws, and we stop at red lights, and we trust the banks, and on and on and on and on. None of that, all of that is foreign to them. Every bit of that is foreign to people who woke up in chaos and poverty and strife. Now they get out, they're maintaining chaos and strife, but they're sure as hell managing to eliminate the poverty part.
Hey, if you don't like America, then you can get it.
Which would include voting?
Oh.
Why is something so important as the voting so difficult to make interesting as a topic?
Now you're having our off-air conversation.
Right, I am.
Air. Are we going to be honest, Joe?
Yeah. Yes, we are. I find it boring.
Let's full disclosure off the air.
I don't find Dan McGrath boring. God bless him for the work he's done.
The topic.
My God, nobody looks at it the way he does.
I referred off the air before the show to Joe having Dan on, and Joe corrected me saying,